he believed in educating women. So all his daughters were there in the school, and the others were invited to come too, which was a different kind of look at education here in the South. Margaret was the oldest child. She was born in 1752. And if you think about it, oldest daughters, I happen to be an oldest daughter. Are there any other oldest daughters in here? A lot rides on the oldest daughters. Yes, just saying. They get a lot of the responsibility. And it was the same in her household. Things just really haven't changed when you look at them. But Charles Moore was proud of his home. He was proud of the school that he started, all these things. And when Kate was 15, she married a neighbor, 21-year-old Andrew Berry. And for 10 years, they set about making a place for their family, again, not too far from her parents, across the Tiger River. Everyone in that Tiger River Presbyterian church were Patriots. There were none of those locking of heads with sentiments or with allegiance in that particular church. And if you go to that church today, it's called Nazareth Presbyterian Church, you will see many graves of those that fought in the Revolutionary War. So, when the intensity of the war ended up in Carolina, Kate became a scout and a spy for her husband immediately. She knew the trails. She knew those Indian trails that they had moved down on. And she was an asset to him. She was an excellent horsewoman, was not afraid, had basically grown up there. And so she was an excellent scout for him. She did things not only just taking the word to the different militia groups or to the men on the farms or whatever, but she also hid things in the forest. They had special trees that had hollows in them that she would put letters in, or put food, corn, or dried jerky or something like that, so that the men that were out there defending their turf had some way to keep in touch with their families, which I think is quite interesting that she chose to go that route. One day in 1780, we're back to 1780, a Tory militia group came to the Berry home. Kate was on the porch with her 4 children at the time, and this man by the name of Captain Elliott was the leader of this particular group, and of course he was looking for Andrew Berry, right? This is what they did. And he was not nice about it either. He stopped up the steps to their front porch. He asked Kate several times, "Where's your husband?" "No, not going to tell you, don't really know where he is," all those kinds of things. He wouldn't accept no for an answer. So he grabbed a hold of her, he tied her arms behind her back to one of her own posts there on the porch. He took out his whip, and 3 times he smacked her, trying to get the information from her. Ladies and gentlemen, she refused to tell him. Refused. Even with her children, right there. Can you imagine? 2, 4, 6, and 8, I believe, were their ages. Can you imagine what they saw in that instance? But the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say, is even more interesting. Nobody really knows, but Captain Elliott didn't pursue it. He didn't pursue it. Stomped his way down those steps again, went off with his militia group, and she was safe. Maybe because he thought, well, she's not going to tell me. I don't really think she's going to tell me. We don't know. But he did leave. And can I add to that, Paul Harvey, about this particular incident, is the fact that after the war was over, this Captain Elliott, was found by some of Andrew Berry's friends. He was at a tavern not too far from them. And so they came and told Andrew Berry that he was there. He'd not seen him since well, I mean, he wasn't there then. And the fact was, they wanted some comeuppance for this man. They thought he deserved it. And they figured that Andrew would think so too. Well, several of them went off riding. They got to the tavern. Andrew went in and asked, who is Captain Elliott? We don't have a first name for him, which I find very interesting. But he acknowledged himself, and Andrew picked up a small stool that was there beside him and whopped him upside the head. Just whopped him. As I understand from my reading, he was knocked out. So it was a major whop. And his men's, they couldn't figure, why didn't you shoot him? He deserved shooting. Look what he did you on. And he said, I just couldn't do it. And I think maybe just reading between the lines a little bit, the fact that he was an elder in the Nazareth Presbyterian Church. He had served as a justice of the peace before the war. And he was now a respected member of the community. It would not have set too good an example if he done off with your head kind of thing with it. So he felt like that he was justified. And one other little story about Kate. Going to the next year, in 1781, you might have heard of a man called Bloody Bill Cunningham. And he was wrecking a lot of havoc in the upcountry. Going from, of course, we know a little bit about the story, the fact that he was once a patriot and then went to the opposite side because of some things that were done to his family. So in the fall of 1781, he was doing his thing there around Spartanburg County. And in doing that, he, along with quite a few of his men, attacked Walnut Grove Plantation, which was Kate's parents' home. There at that plantation home and upstairs of that plantation, there was one soldier, there was one patriot there, and there were two others that were visiting with him, a man by the name of Stedman, Captain Stedman. And so there the man is wounded, can't get out of bed, two men visiting, trying to bring him, some feel-good message, and those men were shot down. They were killed right there on the spot. Kate, just because, if you think about it, if we're quiet here for a minute, we'll hear a lot of different sounds. Not just the AC, but people tapping, that kind of thing. It's hard to realize how quiet it was 200 plus years ago. Anyway, Kate and Andrew lived across the Tiger River, her parents. She heard the ruckus going on. Knew she had to get Andrew because he probably would not hear it, and she wanted to help, of course. And what she did was, all right, ladies, listen to this one. She had a 2-year-old. She tied that 2-year-old to the bedpost, got on her horse, left the baby all by herself, went to find her husband and the militiamen, got a hold of them. They went to Walnut Grove and wiped out Bloody Bill and his men. They went going off somewhere else. Now, I don't know about you, but I figure that DSS would have a heyday with something like that today, would they not? Yeah. But these women did the next thing. They did the next thing. And I think it's important to remember them. Last night, We thank those who fought and served and were a part of the Vietnam War. And I think that we can't do that for our Revolutionary War heroes and heroines. They're long gone. We can't say thank you for your service as we did last night. But in continuing to tell their stories and continuing to be in places like these where we can remember, where we can talk about what they did, why they did it, how they did it, I think that is our answer to them in saying thank you for your service. Which one? All of them, yes, there are. In fact, I just received, I'm a registrar right now of the Cape Barron chapter in Spartanburg, and a descendant of Andrew Barron she's going to become a DAR associate member. So there are a lot of them went out into Texas after the war, but there are lots of Bratons around, lots of Bratons, even in South Carolina. Anything else?
Let's take your 15 minutes, and obviously Sheila will be glad to talk to you anytime as your home store.
Yes.